Hey folks, my name is Chris at HouseIt, based here in Miami, Florida. Today we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of our readers and clients are contacting us about, and topic is why nuclear war with Russia is not going to happen and why you shouldn't panic to sell your home. This is a very timely topic that's on the minds of many readers, and we, of course, here at HouseIt are saddened by the tragic loss of life and the destruction that's going on there. But as it relates to the military, as it relates to real estate, which is really our bread and butter and our niche, we do caution our sellers, and if you are thinking about selling or if you have a property on the market already, to not panic when instability like this happens in broader markets and geopolitics, just because they're thinking that there's nuclear war, first of all, is a very dramatic sort of escalation to take place. And, sure, it can happen with missteps, and fortunately, it has never happened in the history of this world, thank goodness. But as a quick explanation for why that hasn't happened, for example, in the past during the Cold War with the Soviet Union, the main concept you need to understand is called MAD, which is mutually assured destruction, which means in the nuclear age, post 1945, when countries like the Soviet Union and the United States, and even today Russia and the United States, with each about 4,000 nuclear warheads each, and then third and fourth largest stockpiles belonging to countries that might have 200 to 300 warheads each. Now keep in mind, each of these warheads, ICBMs if you will, often are called MIRVs, so they're multiple they have multiple warheads on each missile, each many times more powerful than the ones used at the end of World War II. So it's often said that one of these nuclear missiles can destroy an area the size of a small country like Great Britain. So essentially, the reason that you really shouldn't jump to the conclusion of, hey, there's something happening, there's an invasion, of course, happening in Ukraine, this is going to lead to nuclear war with NATO, the United States. The reason this is extremely unlikely is because no world leader or power or rational actor wants the entire world to end. Even with the advent of new weapons like hypersonic missiles that are first strike weapons and can travel at Mach 5 plus, which is why they're called hypersonic. And even if you have a lot of those, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's such a thing as the nuclear triad, for example, for the U.S. That means the strategic, the bomber fleet, nuclear missile submarines, and land-based ICBMs in missile silos. And even if you launch a very sort of, let's say, effective first strike against another opponent, the problem is, it could be 6 months down the road and you think, hey, like there's no retaliation, I've worked, first of all, very unlikely. You are going to be bound to have 6 months later a nuclear missile submarine surface and realize that there's no communication with their homeland, regardless of which side they're on, and they could even not know who attacked their country, and they can take a guess at a variety of countries and launch all of their missiles, say dozens, scores, 20 plus missiles, again, like we talked about, each with multiple warheads, and the entire world would end. And that is the mission of these nuclear missile submarines, right? To patrol and to act as a deterrent. And it's just not good for anyone. It's such a massive leap, and this is why, like, we also, again, we want to stay in our lane with real estate, but we do want to just tell our clients that you shouldn't, despite what people are saying on Twitter or whatnot, whatever you're seeing out there, you shouldn't assume that actors are that irrational to make that jump. And of course, it is very dangerous as well to come in direct conflict, in my personal opinion, between nuclear armed powers, and that's really the reason why it doesn't happen very often. If you even see throughout the Cold War, what happened was, the Soviet Union and the U.S., they engaged in proxy wars, right? So, for example, Vietnam for the U.S., and in the 60s and 70s, and then Afghanistan for the Soviet Union. I mean, both were the equivalent of swallowing a porcupine. with the other side sort of clandestinely or somewhat openly funding and providing weapons to the proxy conflict on the other side. So anyway, this is the reason why you don't see this sort of thing, and it's very, 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 very rare to see that. And perhaps another question as well readers might have is, well, how is the U.S. How would the U.S. be drawn into the conflict? Well, it seems like what our current statesmen have said is you have you have NATO and Article 5, which is a attack on one is an attack on all. So it seems to us that the red line would be any sort of invasion on one of the NATO countries. Again, I like we discussed, this is like highly provocative stuff, and we don't think that's what's happening or is going to happen by any sane actor. So again, there are panics throughout history. Don't keep a level head. As always, there will be situations like this in the future. There's always something to talk about that's going on in the world, so don't panic. We don't recommend this being a situation where you go out and you lower your listing price by hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars just to get out, to go to cash, to go to gold, guns and canned food. I mean, this is something that you will highly, I would say, would highly regret doing so, because we'll talk about in another video why in this macroeconomic environment, with lots of inflation, why real estate is such a great inflation hedge asset. And any of those things I sort of comically joked about, sure, will be very useful if you have sort of this massive apocalypse. But otherwise, they depreciate to zero. For example, in the case of canned foods, after some number of years, guns, TBD, may hold some of their value. Gold doesn't produce any returns. So there's a lot of literature out there, but again, our summary message for this is, it's really sad. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world, but hold tight. If you're thinking about selling, if you already have a place on the market, don't rush to panic, to lower your listing price, to essentially cave to any demands by buyers for concessions or anything or a lower price. Hold firm, see what happens. In this environment with a lot of money printing that's going on and a lot of inflation out there, real estate is a great inflation hedge asset. So don't sell yourself short with what's going on in other parts of the world, with sort of volatility in the broader markets. Stay firm, and we hope you found this video helpful. My name is Chris at Houseit. And of course, we operate in New York and Florida. In New York, we cover New York City, Long Island, and the Hudson Valley. In Florida, we cover all of Southeast Florida. We cover Miami-Dade County, Palm Beach County, St. Lucie County, Broward County, and Martin counties. We can help you save up to 6% when you sell with our agent-assisted FSBO service. And if you want a little bit more of a hands-on, high-touch service, we have a 1% for a full-service listing option. And of course, when you buy, we can help you save 2% or more with our Houseit Buyer Closing Credit Program, where we give you 2/3 of the buyer agent commission, subject to us keeping a minimum of 1% or $7,500, whichever is greater. My name is Chris at Houseit, and we hope you found this chat helpful. See you on the next one.